What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the next video on learning PHP MySQL. My name is QDS Dani and you guys watching my channel Wood. Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you guys how you guys going to create your database in tables. So when you look in here, it says that new. This new stands as the here. The first is uppercase N. It means that it's going to create your new database. Alright, so when you look in here, it says console. And this console is that's exactly same as this console, but this console is operates inside your Windows operating system, but as the opposite of that one, this one is gonna this is gonna work inside your MySQL. So this is mainly for MySQL, where it says the control enter to execute query. So whatever query, what is query? Query is that commands that we're gonna issue to the database. Say for example, we're gonna put a create, and when you look in here, it says create. Why we put a create? Create is the same one as a new. When you press a new, it means you're creating your database. So when you create, I'm gonna put a new. I'm gonna put a database. It means I'm ready to create my database, and then I'm gonna name my database, and then it's going to be created here. That's our discussion for the future, and I promise I'm going to show you guys this one as well. Say and then I'm gonna put it. This is the same as this one. When you're going to press, I'm going to show you guys in a few minutes. I'm going to press this one, so keep in mind the console, and this is the same, plus this guy here. This is called SQL, structured query language, is the same as this console. So I'm gonna put it here. This is putting out of the way. So then we're gonna come in the three options, and you guys can play around with this one, but make sure you don't touch anything else. Don't drop any table or don't do anything else. So we're gonna close this one, and we're gonna come here. So this one is exactly like this one. It's very similar to this one. You guys can issue your commands here. So if, for example, you guys gonna create, but this is works on say for example only on this database, whatever database you guys create. Say for example, we're gonna go on Salon, and okay, so I'm gonna delete this one. I'm gonna go on the database, and we're gonna go on the database. You have that's fine, we can go there, and say for example, we're gonna come here inside our Salon, which we have created, but there is nothing inside. So when you go here, then we can do our table save. So it says clear, it has a format, and it has a get auto saved query. So it's got a bind parameter. Show this query here again, return query box, rollback when finished, enable foreign key checks. So the foreign key is very, very important. Every time you guys create the database, make sure you guys create your primary key. The primary key is the number, whatever serial number. Say for example, number 1 always going to be the creator of that say for example the database. Say Facebook is created by Zuckerberg, and Zuckerberg's got to hold the number 1. Whoever is going to be number 1 inside the website, they are going to be the creators of the website. So whoever's got a number 1, they can assign any user. They can let a user is going to come into their website. They can do whatever they want. So if you have if you create something new, make sure you guys gonna put your ID is gonna be number 1. Then the second, when the second guy is gonna come in, is gonna be number 2, but the number 1 is gonna assign all the privileges to the number 2, and the privilege is gonna come in soon. So you guys can issue all your statement queries here. So that's what we call SQL query. So it's, say for example, we can put a select. This is SQL query. This is SQL query because we are selecting here. So then now you're going to see how we're going to select something if you don't create any data. That's pretty much fine. So for example, we're going to go OK, and when you come here, it says create database, and when there is something here, this means you guys can go on the documentation. No need to go on the documentation at the moment, because we're going to create our table, and what we're going to create our database, we're going to put a DB, or you guys going to put a test1, test, and we're going to put 1. That's going to be our database. When we press create, it means the test one's created. Now this database is ready. All right, so now you guys gonna come here and you guys can create your table. So it says after you guys done, say for example we were here and it says create a database, no tables found in the database, so it means there is nothing inside, it's totally empty. So you guys can put a table. For example, we put a users, and how many columns you guys gonna put inside the user. Remember in the first video I said that MySQL is a collection of the rows and columns. So there's the columns, you guys can put as many columns as you guys like, but the rows going to be assigned by the database itself. So you guys going to create the columns and the rows going to become by the MySQL itself. So how many rows of the users here, say for example if you guys going to come and put a 3 for the time being, and you guys going to come here and going to see the 3 is going to be ready. This is the number of the columns, and column with the column now you guys going to see as a row, but this is actually columns. Say for example you guys going to put a user ID, and the user ID, what sort of database is going to be. The database is going to be, say for example integer, or it's going to be the varchar. You guys can use the varchar, and sometimes you guys need to put this varchar is better than this int, because sometimes it has numbers as well. So for example when you come int, it says 4-byte integer signed range minus 2,147,483 something billion to 2 billion something 147,483 something. Unsigned range is from 0. When you guys create the integer, and when you guys have the option, say for example you guys have an option here, as you guys going to see here in the pop-up, as unsigned range is 0 to 4 something, because you guys going to get the double number, so it's going to be the 4 billion. But when you use the integer, you guys going to get the size going to be the say 2 billion. But the only difference between int and unsigned int is that int you guys can go minus 2 billion, but with the unsigned int you guys go to plus. So for example it's going to be from the 0. But if you guys are want to make like a humongous big database, make sure you guys do unsigned range, because unsigned range gives you guys more precision. So when it has this many range, then you guys can create trillions of users in this one, no problem. This one can handle all this sort of users. All right, so because that, if it has so many values inside, then you guys can create many billions. Yeah, don't be confused, as like you might be thinking that why if it's 4 billion something then we can create 4 billion. No, that's how the values can take. That's why it gives you the precision, the range. So you guys going to come here as varchar, then you guys going to come here a text column with the maximum length of the 65,535, 2/6 minus 1 character stores with the 2-byte prefix indicating the length of the value bytes. Then we're going to have a date, and date supports range from 1011 to 99991231. It means that how many date is going to take. So the 999 from 1 to 999, it means that's a year, month and day. So then we have a numeric, and then you guys going to see a time and date, and you're going to see string, and then you guys going to see spatial, and then you guys going to see geometry point, you guys going to keep polygon, you guys going to see the JSON, and JSON is the JavaScript object notation. And we don't need all of this. We only need we are interested in int, we are interested in varchar, we are interested in text, we are interested in date. And keep in mind this inside here is got a float, double, real. That's all the numbers it takes because it's numeric. And if you guys don't need a big number, say for example tiny int, you guys can use a tiny int, small int, medium int, and say for example the tiny is very useful if you guys gonna come here and make, say for example, is the user admin or not, if the product sold or not, if the user's product is available or not. So it's gonna come and say tiny int and small int gonna take the 0 1. That's very useful. Say for example you guys go on YouTube, and the YouTube's gonna say this user is logged in, is gonna come 0. When you logged in, then it's gonna come as 1. It means the user is logged in, or user is registered. So you guys can use it in say boolean, where if this is correct or not. Then you guys either the database, if the database say yes 1, if it turns to 1, it means that you guys can register inside, that you guys can log in. Otherwise, if it says 0, then you guys can't log in. All right, so now we're going to come here is int, and then now if it says user ID, some people they put it this way as well, user ID. Some people they put it this way. So now what's the space you guys want to allocate? So if, for example, you guys can put 11 space, the values we're going to allocate. What's the default? You guys can't leave it as a null, because the user ID has to get updated all the time. So you guys can't, let's say for example, you guys do first name, and you guys gonna do varchar. You guys gonna say, for example, the length value of the varchar, say for example the first name is gonna be 50, and you guys can leave this as a null. Why you guys gonna see as a null? Because you guys gonna let the user not to put his first name. If you guys don't put a null, it means that user has to put something here. So if you guys are gonna put, say for example, you guys go to websites, and then the website says what's your first name, even if you don't put anything, it's pretty much fine. The website is gonna let you in. Why? Because the websites put in the background, they put a null. So even if you don't put, you guys can put it as defined. You guys can define it by yourself. We're going to see in the future videos. So that's what the null. But IDs can be just null. You guys can't leave it at null, because website needs the ID. Even if it's one person, that one person needs the ID. So you guys can't leave it as null. But the first name, you guys can leave it as a null, up to you. But say for example, you guys can put a last name. You guys can put a null. You guys gonna put a varchar, and you can leave it 50, and you can put a null, or if you don't want to put a null, it's up to you. But I'm gonna put a null. This is not null, so you guys make sure you guys untick this one. Then you guys looking at here at the down, and gonna move a little bit here. So the ID is here. If you look in here, we are not going to let the ID is going to be null, because ID you guys can't leave it null. It says AI. Is it for artificial intelligence? No, it's not for artificial intelligence. This is for auto increment. You guys need to put it on. So this is your primary key now. This is your primary key. And what is primary key? This is a primary key of your user. That's what is called the relational database system, because you guys need the primary key. Say for example, you guys going to create another one, say for example order, and that how would you know that this order belongs to who? Then if you go in our say in our case, then you guys, when you guys register this one, say Joe Biden's got a ID, say for example of 30, then there is a post coming with the ID of 30, user ID, so we know that this ID, this is the Joe Biden's post. How would you guys know if you don't assign the primary key? So with the primary key, you guys know that this going to identify the user, who the user is. Say for example, if Joe Biden comes in, he's got the ID of 1 or 2, whatever IDs has, then you guys can use this primary key, because it's going to be auto increment. Auto increment, it means that whatever as many you guys can put it, is going to keep on saving and saving and saving and saving. Then it goes like that. So if I press a save, then you guys going to see that my table is ready, and now it's saved. Okay, so now I have a table with the name of say user, and I have a user ID. I have a first name and I have a last name. It's called varchar 50. That's my data type, and I'm allocate is 50 space for this one, 50 space for this one. Is collation is Latin 1 Swedish CI. That's the collation is going to be a little bit complicated, but we're going to come in the future videos. Attributes, we don't put any attributes at the moment, because there's a null, because user ID can be null, first names can be null, but the last name can be null. If you look in here, when you put it like this, it means the user have the option not to put it. We can put, sometime you guys going to go in the databases and it says you have to put it, and sometime it has this little star here with the first name and last name. It means this little star indicates that you have to put it, it's required. Without this, I'm not going to let you in. So if, for example, if you go user, if you put a username, then the user, then some websites takes a username, some they don't. That's our discussion for the future. And now we're going to come here and we're going to see our database. And when you go into structure, you guys are going to see all your columns like this. But when you're going to come here, this is where you got the columns you're going to see. That's what is here. It looks like a row. This one looks like a row because now you guys looking at the structure of this one. And then you look in here, it says print and it says 8 after last name. So it means that even if you guys put 3, if you guys want to put 8, just like Excel, you guys gonna put 8. You guys can put an 8 column after the beginning of the table, after user ID, which is this guy here, after the first name, after the last name. And when you guys go, then it goes. Say for example, if you want to put after the last name, we want one more column, then it's going to provide to you. Say for example, we're going to put a login time, for example, login time. And once you guys going to come here and put a date, then the date time or timestamp. When you guys going to put a timestamp, it's got a range 1970-0101. It means it's coming from the 1970 all the way to 2038. That's a Unix time. As I'm reading here, I'm reading where the pop-up is stored as the number of seconds since the epoch 1970-001. And that keep in mind the UTC Unix time starts from the 1970-0101 at the time when the Unix time started, and it goes all the way to 2038 because that's a 32-bit time frame. And there is the next one's going to come in here. The next one soon is going to come here after 2038. It's going to be 64-bit for the Unix time, and this Unix time is going to go to 16 billion years. I think it's going to go on the 16 billion or 24 billion. So it's going to be huge time. So when you put a timestamp, and it's up to you. You guys want to put a null, and make sure you guys don't put it auto increment. The only time you guys going to put auto increment is user ID. And when you guys save, then it's going to come here is the table user has been altered successfully. It means you altered the table. Say alter table user 8 login time timestamp not null after last name. That was exactly what we've done. We have done alter table. We have altered the table because we use 1 after the last name, 1 column user 8 login time because that's the name of our column. Timestamp because we choose the timestamp, not null because it's not a null because it requires if it's null or not after last name. So this is our query. Alright, so if you look in here, our login times here with the timestamp, and we're gonna see here that it says no because it's not a null, and it's the default is null. And if you guys needs to put a change, we need to change and we need to put some sort of value here. Say for example, we're gonna come here timestamp, and where it says null, you guys need to put a null. It means we don't put anything, it's still okay. So if you guys look in here now, our login time has a null, and we're gonna come here and we put insert, and we're gonna add the same values. You look in here, you guys have an option. You guys can put a null, we put a cryo, then we gonna, if you click it, then you're gonna wood, then it's gonna come say for example the second one we put a U, and the last one we put a tube. Alright, so even if you go now, if you're gonna look at here, we didn't put anything here and we didn't put anything here. Now if you put a go, it goes. It means that 2 rows inserted. Insert row ID 2. So insert into user, this is a SQL query. It says that the user ID, first name, last name, login time, values, null. The first one is going to be the null because that's the ID. The first one we put a cryo wood, and the last one for the time we did put a null. Then the date is going to be the primary key is going to be null. Then we put a U2 and we put a null. So this is if you're going to come here inside the browse, and we're going to see our table. This is our table. This is the rows. we have put a user ID row. First name is 1, last name is this one. This is login time. It's gonna be the null. So we can if you guys want to modify this, you guys can modify it. Say for example, you guys can go here and you guys can still modify this one. Say for example, if we're going to come here, we're going to put some sort of time. For example, say for example, what time I'm going to put. Say for example, I'm going to put this time, and you're looking here that I have already put the time here. So once you're gonna see this one time, and you guys gonna come here and you guys gonna edit, and you guys gonna put a time. Say for example, you guys can put yesterday's time, or say we're gonna put the first time, and you guys gonna see the 2022 9:01 is gonna be 11:39, and we're gonna put it here, and you're gonna see the login time. That's the login time, and that's the timestamp. This is the timestamp. This is a varchar, and it's gonna be int. So now our table is done. So as we said that this is our columns. This is whatever you guys gonna see the column 1. Even if you didn't put anything, it's counting itself. So if you look in here, because the reason this counts because we put auto increment. That's 1. That's a column 2. That's a column 3, and that's a column 4. And what's this? This is a field. And what's this 1 and 2? That's a record. Keep in mind, you remember this one. This is a record. So here, the Corayo, and this one is also is a field. So this is a field here, and this is the columns. So we have a column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. We have a column 4. This has a primary key, and this is the primary key of say for example, the first one, which is Corayo, have a primary key of 1. Every time Corayo order a pizza or something, then we're going to go on the order, and we're going to check if it has a user ID of 1. It means that Mr. Corayo Wood is going to order. And if there is an order for pasta and the user ID is 2 inside that pasta, then it means that YouTube has ordered the pasta. So it means this is the primary key. You guys remember that one? And what you guys see here, the entire this is called record. So there is a record here. There is a record of 1. It says Corayo, and there is a record 2 of the YouTube. You guys can create as many records as you guys are. They said there is a row 1 or row 2, and when you guys go here at insert, you guys can create more. You guys can create more here, whatever you guys like. Say for example, you guys gonna put a John, and you guys can put a Smith. And John Smith, you guys can put a date time. Say for example, if you guys gonna press tomorrow, it can go for tomorrow. Say now you guys gonna come here and says put a Sylvester Stallone, for example. You guys gonna put Sylvester, and you guys can put Stallone. And you guys even if you guys don't put anything, that's fine. But if you guys want to put say tomorrow's date, and if you guys gonna put a okay, then it's gonna go. So this is the query you guys gonna see. And when we go on the browse, then you guys gonna see there's a 4 records here. So record 1, record 2, record 3, record 4. So if you guys observe, we didn't put anything as a user ID. It keeps incrementing itself. It keeps incrementing itself. It keeps updating itself. All we need to do is put this one. So this one, and we need to put a last name because we put a varchar, and some of them, the first one is not null. If you guys are going to put a null, you guys are going to get an error. So this is a timestamp. This is a timestamp. We only put a time, and it comes by itself. Later on in the PHP, we're going to go on the script, PHP script, that we just put a script, and we don't even need to intervene this one because it's going to take by itself the timestamp. The PHP is going to put this timestamp for you. So the only things to remember, this is a column. The only things to remember here, that's a database because we created test 1. Then now we created user. Then you go. Then the next day we're going to create the order ID or the post ID, or we're going to create the status ID, whatever you guys going to put, because in one social media you guys know lots of things. So the first one, you guys needs to put about the user credentials. You guys user first name, last name, email. And the second one, you guys needs to put say post and pictures and friends and sponsors, whatever you guys thinks. Say for example, if you guys going to create another one is for example last name, email, and password, you guys needs to add this user ID, because in order for us to identify which password belongs to which user, you guys need to put a user ID with the password. Say for example, when you guys going to create the table. All right, so this is our table now. This our database is test, our table is user. So when you guys want to make columns, say for example column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, you guys need to come here at the structure and you guys can create your column. Even though you guys going to see this as a row, but this is actually a column. So you guys can check after login time, you guys can check which after which column you guys want to put. You guys can add as many as you guys like. So and then you guys going to see here null, we have learned null, we have learned default, and if you have any comment, you guys can put a comment, and make sure you guys going to put auto increment with your user ID, which is, if you guys look in here, there's a primary, and it means this is primary. Every table should have at least one primary key, every table, keep in mind. So if you guys can create a table order, you guys need to put an order ID here. So if you guys want to create a table pizza, make sure you have a pizza ID. If you guys want to create a table pasta, make sure you guys going to put a pasta ID here, and you have to put an increment here and auto increment, because we need this user ID later on. This is user identify this table, whatever the table, the identity is, this is the one. Just like your date of birth identifies you, the same as user ID identifies the table. Now all of when we come to browse, and now you're going to tell me how many records we have. We have 4 records. So record 1, record 2, and record 3. Alright guys, this is for this video. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.